We believe the acquisition of Afterpay has the potential to be transformative for both the Cash App and Square ecosystems. By integrating Afterpay into both Square and Cash App, we can expand our ecosystems, grow our collective seller and consumer bases, and strengthen the connections between them. For Square, Afterpay adds an omni-channel tool to our ecosystem, which our sellers typically haven't had access to. Together, we believe we can drive meaningful growth with upmarket sellers. We've already launched Afterpay in person and online for many of our sellers.
For Cash App, Afterpay adds a new and accessible credit offering to our expanding suite of financial services through Buy Now, Pay Later. The integration brings a commerce engine into Cash App's ecosystem that will help sellers connect more deeply with the Cash App consumer base by embedding Afterpay's discovery and shopping capabilities into the app. This can help us drive leads to existing and new Afterpay sellers and expand more deeply into advertising. Before we describe the integration in more detail, we want to introduce you to Nick and Ant, the co-founders of Afterpay, who will share more about Afterpay's unique and differentiated business.
When Ant and I first met and began planning what would become Afterpay, we knew that we wanted to create a new economic paradigm. We wanted to build a business that created fairness and financial freedom for all. Having witnessed the aftermath of the global financial crisis and how it impacted lives, we knew people were looking for a new way to buy things they wanted without the threat of revolving in debt. At the same time, we knew that from my experience in running an online jewelry business, that a significant shift towards e-commerce lay ahead. But for any commerce venture to be successful, we knew we'd need a way to engage consumers beyond the point of sale and give them a reason to return. These were the principles and intent on which Afterpay was created. We knew that with product innovation, we could improve commerce for consumers and sellers. Afterpay enables consumers to buy and immediately enjoy their purchases by splitting the cost into 4 equal installments that they repay over time. Consumers tell us that they use Afterpay as a budgeting tool, making use of the visible spending limits, and find it easy to understand the breakdown of their repayments. After a consumer's first purchase, they realize that our product is easy to use and free when they pay on time. Many develop a strong preference to shop where Afterpay is accepted. As a result, we have been continuously building out the Afterpay shop directory, a marketplace featuring our sellers that is available both online and from the app, seeing hundreds of millions of leads per year sent to our sellers. The shop directory showcases our sellers, enables consumers to search by brand and products, and then make a payment. Once their preferences are known, we can show them new brands or similar products that they may yet to experience. By combining an easy way to pay with an intuitive and tailored shopping experience, the shop directory has become a highly effective consumer marketing channel for sellers whom have benefited from more new and repeat consumers, higher average transaction sizes, greater conversion, and lower returns.
Because we started with commerce, and in particular leveraged our marketing capability with large retail brands to drive consumer awareness, we have scaled dramatically. As we've grown, we've lent into more verticals, building out from fashion and beauty into others such as health, automotive, and travel. Today, you can Afterpay your haircut, your new shoes, and even pay for a dentist appointment. And this is reflected in the numbers, with 20 million plus consumers using Afterpay either in person or online at more than 140,000 sellers globally. The consumers that use Afterpay are mostly millennials and Gen Z. These generations are expected to account for almost half of all retail spend in Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States by 2030. And importantly, we think their peak earning years are still ahead.
As we added consumers and sellers over time, we've scaled a global business with operations across Australia, New Zealand, North America, the UK, before recently launching into Europe. In 2021, we processed close to 20 billion in gross merchandise value and generated more than 600 million in gross profit. While we've scaled Afterpay rapidly, there remains a significant global opportunity ahead. Buy Now, Pay Later is 2% of a $10 trillion global online payments opportunity, and that is based on e-commerce spend alone. We think a good portion of this could be incremental to the addressable market that Amrita outlined earlier.
Before digging in on the integration with Block, we wanted to recap Afterpay's business model and how it's differentiated from traditional finance players and competitors across the buy now, pay later landscape. We've been deliberate in offering a pay-in-full product that is free to the consumer, provided they make their repayments on time. Our revenue is primarily generated from sellers who pay our transaction fee in return for the prospect of high repeat usage, new consumer acquisition, higher transaction sizes, and lower return rates. From this, we deduct the cost of sales, which includes processing fees and transaction costs, to generate a healthy transaction margin. Transaction costs can be influenced by geographies, with Australia having lower processing costs per transaction when compared to the United States. We're actively exploring potential ways to improve transaction margins, including via the introduction of ACH payments, which we recently launched in the US. We also closely manage and report our risk loss, which has been reducing over time in all geographies. As a result, our profit less risk loss, or what we've previously referred to as Afterpay's net margin, has remained close to 2% of total gross merchandise value in recent years.
The inbuilt protections of our model mean that we are assessing a consumer's risk throughout their engagement with Afterpay. This starts with robust machine learning models that perform checks at the point of onboarding. Before the consumer can use Afterpay to make their first purchase, we implement a transaction limit that can only increase when they demonstrate healthy repayment behavior over time. We monitor real-time consumer behavior and risk before using sophisticated machine learning models, which helps us better control our exposure. During the pandemic, the model meant that we could quickly respond to changes in consumer repayment behavior to reduce risk loss in all geographies over time.
A combination of our product attributes, consumer assessment, and strong loss management means Afterpay has historically demonstrated a receivables profile with a low risk and a high return. In general, Afterpay consumers have historically had a lower consumer risk profile compared to the broader US population, based on a report by Alpha Beta. Individual balances outstanding are a small fraction of a typical credit card loan. Afterpay consumers are instantly suspended from making further purchases if there is a single missed payment. Our receivables book is very short duration and turns over more than 15 times per annum. Unlike traditional lending, this means our consumer receivables risk exposure is low, and that gives us optionality around our funding. With such a short duration receivables book, it also means that we have generated attractive returns on our capital. From our original intent to scaling our business, we've generated compelling momentum, which now forms the beginnings of our integration with Square and Cash App. The Afterpay model sees a consumer try Afterpay for the first time and love the experience. They often engage on the app more frequently, establish a preference for using Afterpay for more of their purchases, and can use the app to discover more sellers. Over time, we build these preferences into our commerce engine to provide a personalised shopping experience for consumers. This helps drive increased frequency and engagement. As we compound with more sellers and more consumers, this can drive more sales and revenue to Afterpay. Our consumer product protections are designed to drive responsible spending and reduce risk loss. With higher engagement, we can drive highly targeted leads to sellers, both in our Buy Now, Pay Later network, as well as new sellers who don't offer Buy Now, Pay Later at checkout, enabling us to build new revenue streams such as affiliate and advertising.
You can see this in action with our enterprise sellers, JD Sports and Finish Line. This is a strong omni-channel partnership. Afterpay is accepted online, in-app, and in person at hundreds of JD Sports and Finish Line stores. As the #1 referrer of online traffic to both brands, Afterpay has proven to be a credible marketing partner. Afterpay also improves website and app conversion. For example, Afterpay drove a 57% increase in conversion within the JD Sports app. We've also collaborated with targeted marketing campaigns, such as the Drop Shop.
As highlighted earlier today, the acquisition of Afterpay forms an important connection point in our ecosystem of ecosystems. By integrating Afterpay, we reinforce the growth of Cash App and Square. At Square, we're focused on connecting millions of sellers across a range of commerce initiatives. These initiatives form our integration agenda and can be distilled into 4 key areas. First, we're going to help our Square sellers drive incremental sales by offering Afterpay as a new payment method. This is already underway with our launches of BNPL for online and in-person sellers in the US and Australia.
Second, we're integrating Afterpay's discovery, shopping, and lead generation engine into Cash App as the foundation of Cash App's commerce platform. Third, we're bringing Cash App Pay to Afterpay sellers, which adds more flexibility for consumers and can drive incremental sales for sellers. Finally, we have ambitions to take these initiatives worldwide. We're now going to dive deeper into what the integration means for Square's ecosystem.
I spoke earlier about the 3 strategic priorities for Square: omnichannel software, expanding globally, and growing upmarket. Afterpay makes us stronger in all 3 of these areas. Let's take a look at upmarket first.
For Afterpay, we've built relationships with some of the biggest brands in the world, from Dick's Sporting Goods, The Container Store, and PetSmart to more recently, Rite Aid. Roughly half of Afterpay's 2021 volume came from enterprise sellers processing more than $50 million in annual gross merchandise value. And the other half is sellers doing less than $50 million in GMV per annum, which overlaps with Square's current addressable market.
We see an opportunity to cross-sell Afterpay's SMB and mid-market sellers today. Over time, as our product capabilities continue to expand, we can also begin to capture even larger enterprise sellers. Afterpay also adds a tremendous sales team with a strong understanding of larger sellers' needs. We see an opportunity to leverage their expertise as we continue to invest into Square's sales team. Square has a diverse base of SMB and mid-market sellers across a range of verticals that we can cross-sell Afterpay to, further diversifying Afterpay beyond retail. This includes a wide range of sellers, from contractors and repairmen, to lawyers and doctors' offices, to salons and tattoo parlors. We've also already seen adoption by Square sellers and use by their buyers in the food and drink vertical.
These verticals will help to continue expanding Afterpay beyond our core strength in retail. Additional verticals can help drive engagement and frequency, growing our utility with consumers. This vertical expansion plays into our growth. More verticals can drive more consumer demand and acquisition, which in turn drives more seller acquisition, and so on. We've seen the rapid growth of Buy Now, Pay Later in recent years, especially in the US, where more than half of consumers have used a Buy Now, Pay Later option at checkout, according to C&R research. And 3 out of 4 of these consumers are Gen Z and Millennial. Together with Square, Afterpay can more meaningfully give small and mid-sized sellers the tools to attract these young and engaged shoppers who prefer Afterpay and help sellers compete alongside businesses of all sizes.
This year, we're focused on bringing Afterpay to all of the relevant channels that our Square sellers use to reach their buyers. We started with online. On the same day we closed the acquisition, we launched integrations with Afterpay and Square Online and Square's e-commerce API in both the US and Australia. This was an incredible sprint by our teams to introduce this feature into our 2 largest markets, all while we were closing the transaction. The integration of Square and Afterpay Online means that Square sellers can now serve and benefit from this growing consumer demand.
The integration is already delivering results for online sellers. By the end of the first quarter, approximately 13,000 Square online sellers had already processed an Afterpay transaction across a range of verticals and seller sizes, growing Afterpay's seller base by nearly 10%. And as of today, more than 20,000 Square sellers have processed an Afterpay transaction, a strong early indication of continuing growth in the seller adoption. We're seeing encouraging conversion and greater basket sizes so far. Early indications have Afterpay's GMV at a healthy share of these Square sellers' overall processing volumes, generating 4% of share of checkout in the US and almost 14% share of checkout in Australia. And across these markets, we've seen an average transaction size almost 3 times those placed with other payment methods.
We're continuing this momentum into other channels. Yesterday, we announced the in-person integration of Afterpay for Square sellers live in the US and Australia. Sellers can now offer Afterpay to their buyers across all of Square's in-person software. This includes Square Point of Sale, Square for Retail, Square Appointments, and Square for Restaurants. These integrations strengthen our value proposition for both existing and new sellers, as Afterpay can help sellers grow their sales both online and in person.
Before we joined forces with Block, Afterpay had successfully expanded from online to in-person by offering a digital card option. The card can be quickly and easily downloaded from the Afterpay app to a consumer's digital wallet. More than 8 million Afterpay in-person cards have been added to consumer wallets across Australia, New Zealand, the US, and the UK. These omni-channel consumers transacted more frequently and spent more than 3 times more than a single channel consumer in 2021. Together with Square, we can expand our omni-channel reach with a more seamless experience.
While we've made strong progress so far, this is just the beginning. We have more work ahead to bring Afterpay across the rest of the commerce products in our ecosystem and to all of our markets. Now I'll hand it over to Brian and Ant to talk through the consumer opportunity with Cash App.
We believe commerce and financial services are 2 of the development pillars that will drive Cash App's business in the years ahead. And the Afterpay integration can supercharge both efforts. Around the world, consumer preferences are moving away from traditional lending solutions and towards new forms of credit that avoid trapping them in a cycle of debt. This is a generational shift we're seeing, driven by millennial and Gen Z consumers, and together, this demographic makes up more than 70% of annual actives for each of Cash App and Afterpay. With Cash App, we've already been focused on providing simple, fair, and accessible credit products for our customers that promote financial health. Afterpay fits neatly into this by enabling consumers to buy and immediately enjoy their purchases by splitting the cost into 4 equal installments that they repay over time without charging interest or evolving in debt. For Cash App customers, the addition of Afterpay will be a natural extension of the experiences within Cash App that they have come to know and love. As consumers develop a preference to pay where Afterpay is accepted, they can search to discover sellers through the Afterpay app, either in person or online. This cycle can reinforce their preference and is what we describe as the Afterpay Commerce Engine. We'll be integrating this full experience into Cash App. Earlier, you heard me describe some of the core elements that Cash App has already built around commerce, including peer-to-peer business accounts, offers and advertising through the Boost program, and Cash App Pay for commercial payments. By integrating Afterpay's commerce engine into Cash App, enabling sellers to generate leads from our scaled consumer base, and introducing discovery and shopping into the app, we'll build upon these efforts and can drive stronger engagement and strengthen the Cash App network overall.
Afterpay's core product principles are designed for the next generation consumer that Brian mentioned. Those who have been shifting away from traditional forms of credit and towards new solutions that promote financial health. More than 90% of Afterpay's active consumers make their repayments with a debit card. In a similar fashion, the Cash App ecosystem has also revolved around debit cards to fund customers' accounts. It's free to use Afterpay if you pay on time, and that helps encourage responsible spending behaviour. For the 12 months ended March 2022, consumer repayment behaviour saw 95% of all instalments paid on time and 98% of purchases incurring no late fees.
After a consumer makes their first purchase with Afterpay, their use case often shifts from financing that initial purchase to shopping and browsing offers within the Afterpay app, which helps increase frequency. By integrating Afterpay's commerce engine into Cash App, we believe we can benefit from similar engagement dynamics. We see a natural fit here, as we know that shopping is one of the primary reasons that 15 million monthly actives spend on the Cash App card each month. And we have seen how powerful boost offers have been to drive spend at specific sellers.
In Australia and New Zealand, where Afterpay has been live for the longest, our oldest cohorts are using Afterpay almost 34 times per annum on average. This habituation of use can be seen in other regions as well, with North America and the UK following a similar engagement trend. Afterpay has been able to achieve these engagement levels with 20 million active consumers. Of course, the magnitude of the opportunity is so much greater as we look to take that live to 80 million Cash App annual actives. With our combined bases, we see meaningful cross-sell opportunities. Early findings suggest that around 1/3 of Afterpay consumers are Cash App actives, but only 6% of Cash App actives are Afterpay active consumers. Afterpay added almost 9 million new active consumers during 2021. As we integrate these consumers, we'll join Cash App's acquisition funnel, as Afterpay will add a new entry point for consumers into Cash App's ecosystem.
We're not wasting any time. Our teams have already started integrating the Afterpay commerce engine into Cash App. Our immediate focus is pre-qualifying Cash App customers to make purchases using Afterpay's Buy Now, Pay Later product. Within Cash App, we're enabling existing consumers to seamlessly create an Afterpay account or link their existing one. This is a key first step for the rest of the integration. Next, we'll integrate account management into Cash App. By doing so, we expect to drive repeat usage by enabling the most frequently used tools and services in the app. Account management means a consumer will be able to review their orders, check their balance and transaction history, and make repayments directly from Cash App. Then, we're going to offer the Afterpay shop directly within Cash App to allow Cash App actives to shop and browse offers at Afterpay sellers. This will mean evolving Cash App's operating system to support search and discovery. The end result will be a unique commerce experience designed to channel consumers to sellers from within the app, just as Afterpay has achieved across its own platform. We also know that a seamless integration into both Afterpay and Cash App is essential to sellers. Sellers want an end-to-end solution that is going to drive leads to them, convert consumers more frequently, and keep them coming back more often. So we're going to offer a single global API to sellers to enable them to process both Afterpay and Cash App Pay transactions. Existing and new sellers will be able to integrate within a few simple steps and immediately gain access to the demand from Cash App consumers.
From the Afterpay shop directory, we've been able to drive more than 1 million leads per day from our 20 million active consumers. We have the potential to increase lead generation dramatically as we bring shopping to 80 million Cash App annual actives. And as the consumer arrives at checkout, we can offer them more ways to pay, whether that's pay now with Cash App Pay, pay in full with Afterpay, or with any future payment options we introduce. We believe this will drive incremental sales and higher conversion for sellers. We know this combined integration resonates strongly with some of the biggest retail brands globally. Existing Afterpay sellers that have already signed up to add Cash App Pay at checkout include Dick's Sporting Goods, Shein, Savage by Fenty, Finish Line, ASOS, ThredUp, and JD Sports. As Brian said, many Cash App actives already have a shopping and retail mindset. What's exciting is the prospect of bringing that together with the core expertise of Afterpay. Afterpay is an established shopping destination for consumers with around 1 in 3, or 30%, of Afterpay consumers starting their shopping journey from within the shop directory. This has made Afterpay an effective consumer acquisition channel and has allowed us to introduce new revenue streams such as affiliate marketing and advertising. In August last year, we went live with in-app advertising, curated by our own teams who have since onboarded more than 300 advertisers that are both existing Afterpay sellers as well as new sellers who previously didn't offer the Afterpay product. With Afterpay ads, sellers on average have seen a 150% lift in their referrals, and in the US, during the first quarter of 2022, we've monetized more than half of these referrals.
We introduced lead generation for Afterpay sellers into Cash App in late 2021 as an experiment. Even though this feature was not easily discoverable from within the app, it has since generated more than 350,000 leads for Afterpay sellers. The engagement from consumers has been powerful, showing strong product market fit for commerce. We plan to work together with the Afterpay team to scale this further. We think our biggest differentiator is the breadth of our ecosystem. We already have a highly engaged and diverse consumer base. We're able to combine multiple payment options at checkout for the consumer with both Cash App Pay and Afterpay Buy Now, Pay Later. And we believe we'll be able to drive consumer demand in multiple ways, with Boost offering personalized rewards, and with Afterpay's lead generation and advertising engine. And as we've started sharing this vision with sellers, we're already seeing a strong pipeline of demand to sign on.
While we're still working through the integration phases, we have global ambitions for all of these initiatives. We'll start with the markets where we offer either Square, Cash App, or Afterpay and expand from there. All of us across Square, Cash App, and Afterpay are incredibly excited at the momentum that's being generated within our teams, who are passionately building the connections between these two ecosystems. We look forward to sharing more with everyone as we continue to scale this opportunity together.
You've heard a lot from us today on the momentum we're building with the integration. The four of us, our respective businesses, are incredibly excited about what is to come. We have outlined the progress made to date, as well as short, medium, and longer-term priorities that our teams are working hard to deliver. With Square, we've already launched online and in person, and are going to expand the integration to all relevant products in the ecosystem. For Cash App, Afterpay can help transform Cash App into a super app, expanding utility for consumers and driving demand for sellers. Each and every initiative that we undertake has the potential to compound growth, and I'm incredibly excited at the prospect that this work can reshape the global payments and commerce landscape and create new forms of economic empowerment.